Hi, I'm La Blue Mystique from Mystic Love Lounge. Today I want to talk to you about daddy issues. Um, so, of course, I wanted to bring this because this relates to my very own life and how my relationship with my very own biological father affected me from my childhood up until, you know, probably before my current marriage. Like, yes, it definitely affected me in my first marriage. So, um, I really don't have a lot to say. I have had a relationship as a child with him, but more so me going to his house and spending time with my stepsisters. And I remember him being in the room sleep or gone to work. And that's basically what I remember from my childhood. I don't remember any one-on-one talks. I don't remember anything about boys. The only thing I remember him telling me about boys is don't talk to them. That's it. He didn't share any kind of advice about it. So I didn't really get a whole lot of attention, any positive attention. I've always felt like I wasn't good enough for him. I was self-conscious. It kind of made me have low self-esteem. I remember comments coming from him because when I was a child, I played outside a lot, and so I would get a tan every summer. I would get a tan, and I remember my uncle would call me Black. What did he call me? Black Bright. And he called me Black Bright because I would have this tan all over my body except for like on my feet because my feet were covered. So they would still be my original skin color, and the rest of my skin would be darker. And that was something he called me. But he did it in a way, it didn't make me feel self conscious when he said it, but when my dad started making remarks like, "Oh, you're getting dark, ain't you?" or just stuff like that, it was just kind of like, okay, maybe that's why he's not giving me attention, because I know my stepsisters were lighter skinned because I mean they were mixed. But anyways, so it was just like, okay, when I got older, I'm like, maybe if I stay in the house and not get a tan, he'll show me some attention. Or maybe if I grow my hair longer, he'll give me attention because he doesn't like darker skinned people, even though he's dark skinned. And I felt like he didn't like shorter hair, or it was just some things I was just really hard on myself because of certain comments that he made. So I always tried to get his attention, and that affected my self esteem overall. Um, let's see. So it was just like I felt rejected a lot. I always felt rejected because I just felt like I was never good enough. When I would go over to his house, I could never be alone with him. Every time he'll say, like, I'll take you home or I'll take you to McDonald's, he couldn't go by himself. It was always somebody else. And it was like I always had to share him, and that was okay with him. He allowed it to happen. Another thing, as far as my dad, he felt like when my stepdad came into the picture, and I was 16 when my mom got with my now deceased stepfather. He felt like when he got into the picture that my stepdad was supposed to become my dad and do for me like he was doing for my step siblings. So yeah, he backed completely off. It was my stepdad's job. That was his attitude. He's supposed to do it. I don't know where that logic came from, but that's what he said. So it kind of just, I just went through life feeling like really rejected a lot and hurt. And I just never understood, why would you make these children? And I'm the youngest out of 8 children. And I think he has like 5 baby mamas. I'm the youngest, I'm the baby. So and he doesn't have a relationship with none of his biological children. But I didn't make this video to bash him. I just wanted to give my take on how that lack of relationship can affect every relationship from here forth. So, when a girl is looking for attention from her father, she starts seeking it in other men. When I became a teenager, at that time I was seeking it in like boys. Like you teenagers, they like boys. So I would try to find love somewhere from a male because I wasn't getting it from my dad. So, that affected things, and I had horrible taste in men. And as an adult, like my first husband, I I basically modeled him after my dad. Like I remember my dad, he was abusive, he was verbally abusive, he was physically abusive to my mom. I remember him fighting her. I was about 4 or 5 when she finally left him, but I still remember those fights. So like my first marriage was literally all of that. I had to deal with the cheating, just like my mom had to deal with. I dealt with the abuse, physical, verbal, mental, all of it, because it was something in him. His spirit reminded me of my father's spirit, and that is, I guess, how I connected with him. And so it does affect your relationships when you're with someone. I mean, when you're having issues with your father growing up and you don't recognize it, it's like a pattern. Like, I don't get why I'm going after the same type of man. Every man I get is either this or this and that. Well, that's because you're looking for something that you didn't have growing up. So I had to basically change my pattern, and that's how I found my current husband, who helped me heal and become the woman that I am today, and I'm very grateful for that. So I dealt with the rejection, the self-esteem issues, I dealt with abandonment issues from him, and let's see, it was something that it just keeps resonating with me. It's like 9 out of 10 people, like I guarantee you, the very first person that will ever break their heart is their parent. It's very fucked up, but it's true. It's so true. Because come to think about it, I'm like, yeah, my dad was the very first person to ever break my heart. And yeah, it's crazy. So it affected me as an individual. It affected my self-esteem. I wasn't good enough. As a wife, it affected me because I just felt like my self-esteem was so bad in my first marriage that I felt like every man was just like that. I had to deal with it. Basically, I thought I had to deal with it because this is what men do. Men cheat. Men fight. Deal with it until they grow out of it. That's what I thought. So that was then. Um, and then as a mom, it affects me. It affected me because it kind of, like, in the beginning, I just didn't know how to show affection. It was like my heart, and I'm not going to say it was hard, and it was just like like it's just growing up, you thinking like boys are supposed to be tough, and they shouldn't always have to be. Kids are supposed to be kids. Let them be kids and stop putting grown people's jobs on them. Like, let them be kids. A mother needs to nurture her children. And I had to look at myself and be like, I can't push my kids away. I know how it felt when my dad did it to me, so why would I do it to my children? The ones I love, like, I can't fathom that. So, like, when I realized that I would have repeated the cycle, it really fucked me up. And I was just like, no, I love my kids. I can't see how parents can even go days without talking to their kids. It makes no sense to me at all. It's like I just got to talk to my kids, make sure they're straight. I got to have a relationship with them. Another thing, my dad, how he sees things is, and this is even when I was a child, I remember calling him a lot, and he was always either gone or asleep. And I found out later on as an adult that he wasn't gone or asleep. He would tell his then wife to tell his kids that he's gone or asleep because he didn't want to talk to us. But it's okay. I forgive him. And I had to realize it's his loss. And spirituality helped me to grow from it because I had to realize that he was just a vehicle to get me here, nothing more. Nothing more. And that's all. And I'm grateful and thankful to him for for helping to create me and get me here. He did what he had to do. He did his purpose in my life. And what he did, it shouldn't have been any different because I had to become who I am supposed to be. So I didn't miss out on nothing. And I'm good and I'm happy. And it's all love. Everything is love. And I wish him nothing but the best. And deuces.